You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And Blake Snell looked great, and the Giants battled, but terrible at-bats with runners in scoring position continue to plague this team as they fall 3-2 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Teoscar Hernandez, aka Teo the Terror, was a one-man wrecking crew for the Dodgers today as he drove in all three of their runs with a 3-for-4 night at the dish and a home run. The Giants couldn't buy a hit against the Dodgers bullpen as they managed just 2 base runners versus the Dodgers relievers. Oh, by the way, they also went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Ouch. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you get the show, we appreciate it. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. This episode today is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. And the one thing I forgot to mention somehow in that lead was the big, massive, probably the biggest single play of the game, that outfield blunder between Matos and Ramos. We'll go right to that. In a tie game, it's 2-2 late in this one. And I mean, it's the 8th inning, and you got the bottom of the lineup coming up, or the 9-hitter coming up, followed by the top of the order to start off this inning. And you got Eric Miller on the mound, a young guy, and Kike Hernandez gives one a ride. And Kike is not the worst 9-hitter in the world, but you got to get this guy out, knowing that you got Shohei and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith and all these other dudes coming at the top of the order. So Kike hits one to the warning track, and it's clearly in the park. Ramos and Matos both had a beat on it. And if you were watching that play, both players are calling for the ball, and neither one catch it. It drops right in between the both of them, and it's a leadoff double for what should have been an out. And this ends up coming back to bite the Giants. As I said, it was a tie game. You can't be giving up leadoff doubles in a tie game in the bottom of the 8th on balls that should be caught. And I'm going to say it flat out. That one is entirely on Matos. Ramos is the center fielder, and both guys are calling for the ball. You yield to the center fielder. That is the captain of the defense in the outfield. You listen to your center fielder. Matos didn't listen there. You saw him on the close-up replay, continuing to call for it and continuing not to back off. That ball is all Elliot Ramos, and he does kind of take a little bit too much. I'm not going to say too much, but he'll call for some balls that might not be the easiest play for him to make, might be an easier play for someone else to make, but I don't care. He's the center fielder. He's the captain of the defense. You listen to what that guy says. I don't care who catches that ball. It just needs to be caught. And Elliot Ramos is the guy that you listen to when he's directing traffic out there. And if Matos had just backed off and listened, that ball is caught. That run does not score in that inning, and this game ends up differently there at the end. But instead, you put Hernandez on second base with Ohtani at the dish, and great job by Eric Miller to come back with a strikeout on Ohtani. But a walk puts runners at first and second base. And then, this whole inning was nuts. Freddie Freeman, a sharp ground ball with runners at first and second up the middle. And Tyler Fitzgerald, my God, what a play at shortstop. He slides behind. He shifted over towards the middle. He's playing pretty close up the middle with Freeman at bat. And he slides over the back part of second base, like not over the actual base, but behind second base, slides behind second base going to his left, and makes a great play, kind of like spins awkwardly onto his left, like butt cheek / hip, and doesn't have an angle to throw the ball or really flip it over to second base with his throwing hand. So he just shovels it with the glove hand, with the ball in the glove, just shovels it. And this is like like more than a 5-foot throw. Like, he's not super close to the base. Like, and I mean, it was a perfect feed right to Brett Wisely. Somehow got that runner at second. If you have not seen that replay, you need to go see it. I wish that we could have these rights, that we could just play it on the postcast right now. But my God, what a play by Tyler Fitzgerald, who has played in a utility role for the Giants, but has been playing a lot of shortstop lately, and plays like that. I mean, flat out, Marco Luciano not making that play ever. I mean, I don't care if you give that guy 100 times to do it. He's not making that play a single time. I mean, that was amazing by Tyler Fitzgerald. And that's what you get from a guy like that. And Fitzgerald, by the way, we should mention, hit a home run earlier in this game, 4 consecutive games with home runs now for Tyler Fitzgerald. The first time that a Giants player has done that since Brandon Belt in 2018, according to Alex Pavlovich. And also the youngest Giant to do it since 1987, when Will Clark did it. Shout out Will the Thrill. I love Will Clark. Such a fun dude to talk to. But this Giants game was very frustrating. In the inning after that Fitzgerald play, I thought they were going to get out of it. First and third, 2 outs. And then here comes Teoscar Hernandez, who has already got a home run in this game and is seeming to hit the ball no matter where you put it in the strike zone. And credit to him with a 2-out, 2-strike count and a pretty good fastball from Randy Rodriguez on the outside part of the plate. Maybe caught just barely too much of the plate. I mean, maybe it wasn't entirely off the plate. And with the 2-strike count, maybe you just put that ball completely outside of the strike zone against a guy who's this hot. I don't know, but it wasn't a bad pitch. It was a pretty good one. And Hernandez just put a good swing on it. Looked to go right back up the middle, was looking fastball outside and got it. And this dude put a good swing on it and just put that ball right back up the middle to score the go-ahead run for the Dodgers. Just flat out a good piece of hitting. It was not a bad pitch, but a better at bat by Hernandez. And that was kind of the story for the Giants all night long. Hernandez had all 3 of the Dodgers runs driven in. And I mean, that run ended up being the difference. The Giants couldn't get it done there in the 9th inning, even though Tyler Fitzgerald did get on base there in the 9th inning, drew a walk. And I believe, actually, I said at the top of the show, the Giants only had 2 base runners against the bullpen all night long. It was actually 3. I forgot about that. Tyler Fitzgerald. My God, Tyler Fitzgerald walked there in the end of this one. So Fitzgerald doing everything he can. The rest of this Giants offense not doing much. I mean, 5 hits and not very many base runners for the Giants today. As I said, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And that was a huge deal because in the top of the 6th, this was probably the most egregious one. Lamont Wade Jr. leadoff single, and Ramos had a potential to extend this inning even more as the number 2 batter, but he gets a 3-0 count and then gets a pitch right down the middle, a fastball just right over the middle of the plate, and he's struggled hitting the fastball lately, continues to struggle with that pitch today. On that 3-0 count, he just smashes a chopper right into the ground to third base. Beats out the double play, but was kind of a double play ball. If Ramos was a little slower, had to hustle down that line. Then Pat Bailey sends one to the right field wall, and Ramos doesn't get the best jump. And also that ball had a bunch of topspin, was hit 102 miles an hour off the bat. Bailey only gets a single out of this ball that smashes off the right field wall, and Ramos can only get to third on the play. He got a kind of a late jump on it. Definitely wasn't running off the bat. Couldn't tell if that ball was going to be caught or not, if it had the right lift on it. Ends up at third, but so you still got first and third with 1 out. And Dodgers finally go to the bullpen. They take out, by the way, another very frustrating part about today's game. The Dodgers they have this guy on the mound, River Ryan, making his MLB debut, and the Giants could not get to him. This guy only gave up 1 run over 5 1/3. He walked 3 guys and only struck out 2. He wasn't super accurate. The Giants were swinging at so many first pitches. They did this guy so many favors by just hitting into outs and not making him pitch, not making him work out there on the mound. And this kid just came in and just waltzed through 5 1/3 innings. Like, I mean, the Giants were not doing themselves any favors, just continuously shooting themselves in the foot. And my, if it isn't the consequence of their own actions, they lose this one in a game where they really should have won, man. Like, that you can't have no willingness to take pitches, and like, you've never faced this guy before. No one on this team has ever faced this guy before. You have virtually no scouting on this guy other than what you might have heard from your minor league scouts. And like, you want to see what that guy's got. Don't just go up there and swing freely at the first pitch you see. Like, let it come out of let it travel. Like, see how that ball comes out of his hand. See more than one type of pitch. I mean, God, this was so frustrating watching this kid up here. I mean, what was his name? I already forgot. River Ryan, some stupid name like that. Of course, he got a weird name if he's on the stupid Dodgers. I mean, this So frustrating. I don't know how you just whiff at all these pitches so early in the count and you're just making weak contact all day long against him. It's frustrating. I get it that sometimes that pitch is looking a little fat. The kid didn't have the best like stuff out there. He wasn't like throwing 100 miles an hour. He didn't have like a crazy breaking ball or anything like that. I mean, this was a very hittable pitcher, and the Giants just did the Dodgers all the favors in the world by just swinging freely 100% of the time, it seemed like. I mean, just why even try to draw a walk? So this is now since the All-Star break, seems like the Giants have just forgotten how to work pitchers and how to work at bats and take balls in counts. I mean, with the loss today to the Dodgers, you're now 3-7 against this team this year, guarantees a losing record against the Dodgers this season, which is never fun. I think we could have probably assumed that at the beginning of the year that's how that would go. But nonetheless, it's frustrating, man. Like, this was a game that the Giants had in hand. By the way, that sixth inning ended after Vesia came in and struck out Matos with runners at the corners and just 1 out. And then Matt Chapman strikes out on a ball right over the middle of the plate, just below the belt. I don't know how you missed that. It was a fastball, 92.6 mile an hour four-seamer, not even a two-seamer, a four-seam fastball with little to no movement at 92.5 miles an hour, just dead center of the strike zone, and Chapman swings right through it. Like, oh my God, this is frustrating. This is unbelievable, man. Like, I don't even know what to say about this team anymore. You have so many opportunities to win, and they just don't want to. I'm convinced that these Giants just don't want to win at this point. So there's been so many opportunities, so many close games where all you need is one break, one base hit, like one thing to happen, and they just do everything they can to avoid that one positive thing. It is so incredibly frustrating watching this team continuously drop games that they should win, not be able to hit. I mean, what were they doing really good at the beginning of the season? And like for the majority of this year, they were, if there was one thing that this Giants team was good at, it was staying in games. It was coming back late in games, turning the offense on late. Well, since the All-Star break, this team seems like they just check out after the sixth inning. Oh, we're losing after 6. All right, well, pack it in. Let's go home. I mean, what is happening? What is happening? I mean, Ryan Yarbrough also up there throwing 68 mile an hour curveballs, 68 mile an hour curveballs. Poor Brett Wisely, after taking like 5 of them in one at bat and then ending the at bat with a high 87 mile an hour fastball, just gave this look back to the field when he was walking back to the dugout. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he looked back at the field like, what the blank was that? And it was pretty funny. Lamont Wade Jr. kind of had a similar expression after Trinan struck him out on just filthy slider. Lamont Wade kind of looked back, and you could read his lips. Lamont Wade Jr. said, "Wow, that was dirty. That pitch was just nasty." And the Dodgers have a very tough bullpen. I get it. Like Trinan, Hudson, Vesia, they're all pretty solid. Yarbrough, even with the 68 mile an hour curveball. I mean, geez, this team, if there was a series this year that you were going to beat the Dodgers in, also, it's this one, man. Like, you have a lot more healthy arms than the Dodgers do. You had Blake Snell going tonight versus a guy making his MLB debut, and Blake Snell was on. We'll get into how he looked like on the mound a little bit later, because I think that's very important for how the Giants' second half of the season will go. I think Blake Snell's a big part of that. But this offense, man, can't score more than 3 runs in a game. I mean, they have yet to do so since the All-Star break, since coming back from the break. Today, it got worse. Only 2 runs today. So this offense, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, left 7 on base. That was not good. We'll break all that down, and Blake Snell's day on the mound, and we got to talk about Teo the Terror, Teoscar Hernandez, and how great he was today. Also, we need to take a look a little bit harder at Tyler Fitzgerald, and this guy needs to be playing more. I mean, I know he's been playing a lot since the break. Keep playing him. He's the only guy doing anything on this damn team. We'll be right back here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a chance to win 100 times your money. There's no better way to cash in on all the post-All-Star break MLB action than PrizePicks. Add your favorite players, from the diamond to your PrizePicks lineups all season long. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks lineup today. You can now win up to 100 times your money with a baseball-only lineup on PrizePicks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 Demon Squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And today's show is also sponsored by eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you are looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. And man, this was a tough loss for the Giants. I'm just going back over through the chat, and man, I see you guys are all feeling the same way I am. Sawyer, Giants making River Ryan look like Nolan Ryan. Yeah, dude, I agree. This guy, except he couldn't throw very hard at all. He wasn't out there throwing gas like Nolan Ryan, but man, what a frustrating way for this team to lose this game against. It just makes it more frustrating when it's the stupid Dodgers too. I cannot stand losing games to the Dodgers, and this guarantees a season loss in the Giants-Dodgers rivalry matchup for 2024. And that really frustrates me. And it was bound to happen if they lost. They needed to sweep this series, this 4-game series in Los Angeles, to avoid that outcome after the just putrid way that they've played them early in the season. They did play the Dodgers pretty good in their last couple games. Remember, they won that last Dodgers-Giants series, but it's just been really frustrating, especially down in Dodger Stadium over the past few years. They've dropped their last now 6 consecutive games and 15 of their last 20 since 2022 at Dodger Stadium. So it's been very, very, very tough watching how this all unfolds. And man, this was just so incredibly frustrating. That ball that fell in the outfield between Matos and Ramos, just the pinnacle of the frustration from tonight. Just a ball that absolutely needs to be caught. Inexcusable drop. Matos needs to back off on that and let his center fielder take over. That's baseball 101. That's something you learn in Little League. This should not be something that continues to happen going forward with Matos, who continuously makes blunders in the outfield, brain blunders. He's got the physicality to get it done. We've seen him rob home runs out there, but you can't have brain blunders at the MLB level. They need to fix this. The other thing they need to fix is this offense, and it's been sputtering, and that's being nice since the All-Star break. They have not been very good. Again, less than 3 runs today. They have not scored more than 3 runs in any of these games since the All-Star break. It's just been really tough sledding for this team. The one guy who's been doing anything, Tyler Fitzgerald, has homered in 4 consecutive games. One of those 4 came many, many days before the last 3, but 3 consecutive days he has hit a home run, 2 in Colorado and then 1 today. The other one was a few weeks ago, because Tyler Fitzgerald doesn't generally play every day, although he has been lately post All-Star break. And so all 4 games of the last games that he has played, he has hit a home run, and he's been really good defensively. This guy, he's thin as a rail, dude. I don't know where he generates this power from, but that swing looks so silky smooth. It just perfect swing on that home run that he hit today. And it was really great to see Fitzgerald keep it rolling. The youth movement has been the thing this season that you can hang your hat on. If there's one thing about this Giants team that is different about Giants past years in the Farhan Zaidi regime, is that this team feels like it finally has a direction. You have all of these young guys coming up. Tyler Fitzgerald is just the most recent one to show you that he's got something that might be worth taking a deeper look at, a longer look at. And you've seen all of these flashes this year from Fitzgerald, from Wisely, from Matos, from Ramos. I mean, all these young guys. Randy Rodriguez has had some really nice games, even though he gave up that hit to Teoscar Hernandez today. I mean, you've seen a lot. I mean, Eric Miller, another young guy, Kyle Harrison, Hayden Birdsong. Oh my God, how do we forget about Hayden Birdsong after what he just did last night? So many guys on this team that that's the future for the Giants, is that they have all this young talent and they need to figure out how to get it all to gel, which pieces to move to get in other, veteran talent to supplement it, how to get in, decent free agent signings that actually can, contribute to teams. Kind of sucks that the Giants seemingly went 0 for 3, or I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to say 0 for 3 really on their 3 big offseason signings, but I mean, none of these guys have lived up to their full potential in a Giants uniform. Blake Snell has been doing it recently, but Chapman and Soler haven't been. And that's kind of been the story is the Giants can't put it all together at the same time. You have all these flashes happening, as we just talked about, but not all at once. It's one guy gets hot and the rest of the team is cold, and then another guy starts to get hot, and then that other guy who was hot originally just kind of fizzles out. And it's been what it's been for the Giants. This whole offense has been up and down. And when you look at these hit logs, I mean, it's the same guys. It's the same thing every day. It's 2 or 3 guys with a bunch of hits and everybody else with nothing. I mean, today, Lamont Wade Jr. was on base 3 times, 2 hits and a walk. Pat Bailey, 2 hits and a walk. And Tyler Fitzgerald had the home run and a walk. So he was on base multiple times as well. Nobody else could get a hit on this Giants lineup. I mean, there were 2 other guys who got on base, Matt Chapman and Jorge Soler, those 2 free agents we were just talking about, but they both drew walks. They both had chances for impact at bats and both couldn't get it done. It's getting really frustrating watching this happen. And meanwhile, on the other side, the free agent that honestly, I really wanted Teoscar Hernandez to be in a Giants uniform. I thought he would have been a great fit, a home run threat at Oracle Park. Instead, he goes to the Dodgers, and this dude has been awesome since he's been there. I mean, dude just won the home run derby. I know that doesn't count for real life stats, but I mean, today, how's for some real life stats? How's 3 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs, and yeah, that's and 1 run scored on that home run, obviously. So Teoscar Hernandez, every time he was up today, did something big for the Dodgers. By the way, that home run came on a pitch that was perfect by Blake Snell. It was located exactly where he wanted it to, low and inside breaking pitch that maybe broke a little bit more than you wanted it to, and Teo, credit him. He went down and got it and put that ball out of the ballpark. And Blake Snell looked mad, man. Like he knew that he made the pitch that he wanted to, and he just looked frustrated. So just angry that Teoscar Hernandez was able to get around on that pitch. Very, very, very frustrating if you're a Giants fan, that this one guy essentially that could have been in a Giants uniform beat you tonight wearing a Dodgers uniform of all uniforms. And that's not going to help the contingency of the Giants fan base who just wants Farhan Zaidi like burned at the stake. Like that, that's just going to be more gas for the fire. So Giants, I mean, this was really frustrating, really, really, really frustrating. And by the way, one of the Teoscar Hernandez RBIs came after Freddie Freeman walked and took second on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 6th. That Blake Snell blunder basically generated a free run. You gave up 2 free 90s. You gave up a free 180, not even a free 90, a free 180. And all you needed was a single to score a run in that inning. That was the only hit in that inning. Scored a run. And you can't, I mean, with these narrow margins that the Giants are losing these games by, you got to start being just a little bit sharper, and you'll win some of these games. It's right there. It's really right there. And that's the most frustrating part of this, is the Giants have all the potential in the world to be a really good baseball team, and they just can't get out of their own way. That's been the whole 2024 season so far. We got to get out of our own way right now and take a quick break. And on the other side, we'll talk more about this more from this game and Blake Snell's night tonight. We haven't really gotten into that too much. We'll talk about that. And there was some Hayden Birdsong news, some weird news. Hayden Birdsong sent to single A San Jose after 12 strikeouts at Coors Field. What the hell is happening? Don't worry. We'll explain on the other side. It all makes sense. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show It's brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games. NHL, NBA seasons are wrapped up. MLB season, it's dog days of summer baseball right now. But we do got the Olympics coming up. And sometimes, though, in these summer dog days of baseball, sports just aren't sports and like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And today, I was in the mood all right. And maybe just this post All-Star break, I should stop betting the Giants on the money line, because every game so far that I have bet the Giants on the money line post All-Star break, they have lost. I really thought that this was the day, man. I mean, Blake Snell has been rolling, going against the Dodgers, who he's done pretty well against in his career. And the Dodgers had this kid who was making his MLB debut on the mound. And there, I put the post-game broadcaster jinx on the Giants. Not the best thing that I've done this season so far with my FanDuel account. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with the boost or daily bonus. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants lose a very, very frustrating game, 3-2 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Teoscar Hernandez, basically single-handedly beat them with his 3 RBIs, but the Giants didn't do themselves any favors. I mean, that ball that wasn't ruled an error, that double by Kike Hernandez, but for all intents and purposes was an error. Just drops between two Giants outfielders, between Matos and Ramos. That was the biggest moment of the game. Plus, earlier in this game, Blake Snell just issues a free pass to Freddie Freeman, then chucks one that gets by Pat Bailey and gives Freddie Freeman a free second base. Teoscar Hernandez, all he needs is a single to score him. By the way, the 2 hardest hit balls tonight in tonight's game, Teoscar Hernandez, 109 miles an hour and 106.3 miles an hour. That home run he hit sailed 411 feet. Great night for Teoscar Hernandez, not a great night for Giants fans. So, I mean, the one thing that you have going forward, though, is this youth movement. As we talked about, the Giants seemingly have a direction. They also have Blake Snell, finally being Blake Snell on the mound for the first time of this season. I mean, his last 3 starts have been really good, and that's been as a result of on his fastball. I mean, he was really, really struggling with that 4-seamer earlier in the season. I mean, guys were just killing that fastball, and now he's been a lot better. He throws that fastball about 48% of the time, and he has an opposing batting average of .322 against it, which is not great for the season. But over his last 2 starts, prior to this game, coming into this one, opponents were just 2 for 18, batting near 100, 111 with 5 strikeouts. So today he did okay. I mean, he didn't generate very many swings and misses, but he had some good work with that fastball. He did all right with it. He threw 32 of them, about 39% of them, threw the curveball a ton today, and that fastball average exit velocity 81 miles an hour. That's pretty solid. I mean, that's what you want from a pitch like that. Fouled off 7 times, 6 balls in play. So he did pretty good with that fastball today. And that's the big difference. You heard Mike Krukow say it on the broadcast. When Blake Snell has his fastball location going, he is a different pitcher. And that's what he was today. He really had that fastball going, and he threw 83 pitches, probably had a little bit more left in the tank, but I don't think Blake Snell's the guy to push, you know what I mean? In that start, or in that sense, he's not always the best when he gets past the 7th inning. So Blake Snell did okay. He's trending in the right direction, and that's what you want to see for the Giants going into this second half. You got Robbie Ray starting tomorrow, which is good. Him coming back is a big lift for the Giants, former Cy Young Award winner. That's a big time thing for the Giants to get some of these arms back. We also could potentially get Alex Cobb back a week from Wednesday as well. So Robbie Ray will start on Wednesday, and Alex Cobb could potentially start a week from then. But Hayden Birdsong got sent down to AAA San Jose today. And when I saw that, my first reaction was, what the hell, man? Did something happen? Like, why is this guy going down to single A? And Bob Melvin kind of cleared it up. It's just roster maneuvering. The Giants added an extra bullpen arm for this Dodgers series, a guy that they just traded for and needed to make room on the roster, sent Hayden Birdsong down, but Bob Melvin can't officially say it, but basically told us that we can very much so expect Birdsong to not miss his turn in the rotation, which would be Saturday on that scheduled doubleheader against the Rockies at Oracle Park on Country Music Day, by the way. A nice cowboy hat giveaway. You know, I love me a nice cowboy hat giveaway. I'm going to try and get out there and get that. So he should be back up for that start. It's just roster maneuvering until then, and the Giants are able to bring him up because of that doubleheader ahead of that 15-day cooldown period after being sent down. So Birdsong will not miss his next turn in the rotation, very likely won't miss it. It's just roster maneuvering stuff. The Giants are going to have to figure out what to do with this roster when you got all these guys coming back from injury. I mean, Jordan Hicks is very likely going to have to move to the bullpen, which I think is a better spot for him at this point in the season anyways. But I'm sure they figured that this was a good time to give Birdsong a little bit of a break and shut him down a little bit and get him back up when they need him at that Rockies series. And maybe he strikes out another 12 Rockies in his next start. That would be phenomenal. But before then, got 3 more games against the Dodgers, and the Giants, I mean, they can't win this season long series, but they can still win this series, this 4-game set, and that needs to start tomorrow. The Giants need to start winning in this second half if they want to start. I mean, that second half surge, we're still waiting for it, man. And we don't have too much time to continue waiting before it's going to be too late for this team to make a playoff push. And they're still in it. That wild card is still very much in play. I don't know how you're going to be a seller at the deadline, like Zaidi said, if you're still somewhat in contention for the wild card, even if you're slumping. But that's what Farhan said, is sellers at the deadline if they're slumping and the team's slumping. So we're getting closer and closer. This team needs to turn it around if they want to take control of this season and make a playoff run and build on that for next season. That's all the time we got for you guys today here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Very frustrating loss, a very frustrating dropped fly ball in the outfield that resulted in the game-winning run. Very, very frustrating all the way around. Teoscar Hernandez could have been a Giant. Could have been a Giant. Instead, he's a Dodger. That's all the time we got for you today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I feel like a part of my soul dies every time the Giants lose to the Dodgers. I know that sounds dramatic, but that's just how I feel, man. We'll see you next time. Hopefully the Giants turn it around tomorrow, and we'll come to you live after that one. Thanks for tuning in to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.